let's make a hand. I've looked at quite a few hand techniques, but the one that I'm going to use here that I find I like quite a bit, it's very straightforward, is from Ben Simone's book, A Blender Masterclass. An excellent book. So I'll left click to put our 3D cursor here, Shift A to add a cube, scale it down, we'll undo and turn off proportional editing, and we'll scale it down again. Hit 3, scale along the Y. See these lines? It's from the light and the camera. I could delete those, but another thing you could do is hit on the number pad the /, and we're just looking at the local view for this figure. You don't have to see anything else that's in the scene, and we don't have to. We're not hiding anything. Not that that's bad. So this is going to be like the back of the hand, and go ahead, ring cut, and then mouse wheel up to get 3 cuts in here, and hit escape. Ring cut again, we'll get 3 cuts here, escape. I don't want to limit selection right now. Control R, we're going to get another ring cut right there. We throw off our spacing a little bit, so let's move this guy out. And then select those, type I to do an inset. I love that feature. They added it in recent years. So now this is where the fingers will come out, and we've got a little bit of space between the fingers. Let's bring out where the thumb's going to come out. And delete those vertices. W, merge at center. We'll merge these. Control R. Oops. Let's undo that one. Control R, escape. Now we'll turn that back on. And we'll bring down some of the so for the fingers, we'll figure out the joints. So for example, we'll extrude down once, that's like the first joint, and we'll extrude again, and one last time. And for our thumb, as I hold my hand out in front of me, we'll extrude once, and once more. And now what I'm going to do is select all. Oh, I don't want to select all. I just want to select all of the hand. So since this mesh is not connected to the other mesh, I'm just going to put the mouse over here, hit L, and it selects all the linked vertices. And I'm going to smooth it. I'll try smoothing once more. And that rounds it out nicely. But our proportions suffered from that, so let's take these one at a time. In fact, see how this came in at the end of the tip? What would be nice? Let's undo a couple steps before the smoothing. If we take all of these and bring just a little bit more, do let's Alt S, a little bit just for starters, so we can, and then select these and smooth again. And now let's try and make our fingers a little more proportionate. On your hand, there's a little bit of a curve this way. Here, do a grease pencil. So what I'm going to do is try and imitate that. Here, let's scale from the cursor. I did that by hitting the period, not on the number pad, but on the keyboard. Let's look at this from the side to see where we're scaling from. Probably would have been nice if I brought this over to the center. Hit period to on the number pad this time to zoom to the selected item. Like this. I'm going to move that in a little bit more. We'll do the same thing with this. I'll take both of these and move these up a little bit. Here, O for proportion. I'm going to turn that off now. And you notice we're still doing it from the cursor. And when you have proportional editing on, and you're doing from the cursor, you'll see, watch, I'll type G, our circle is down by wherever the cursor is, versus when we're doing it from the median point. And now, so sometimes that can be a little confusing. It just confused me there. Even though I know about it. It's easy to forget. So I'm gonna do Control Tab Face, and I think that's X faces. We'll connect the hand to the arm from here. Now, a hand does have some curvature to it. But we'll achieve some of that curvature via bones. So we're not going to do too much of that here because we'll have bones in these fingers and bending them and such. So the hand, you're just going to have to tolerate looking a little artificial for a while until we rig it. Some of these adjustments will be easier to make once I attach it to the hand. It'll feel more natural as to, okay, what's going where? Did I give him a big pointer finger or what? There's pinky. See, this really would be better if I had the cursor in both front and side, the position that I want. So I don't have to fix a scaling mistake later. And it'll be also easier to rig if this guy's hand is nice and flat. All right. Okay, I have to just do one more thing. I'm just going to add, for now, we'll probably add more ring cuts later depending on our needs, but it's a little harsh, but I like that. It's a little closer to what I'm hoping for. We, you know, like his knuckles here. Control comma brings us back to scaling. Medium point, and I'm going to do an Alt S. That's, I don't like that. So instead, I'm going to switch over to individual origins so that each item is being scaled on its individual origin. I'm going to do scale X. Bring those in. Look at it from the side. Move those up. Just so that we have the beginnings of our knuckles. I mean, we can make real knuckles later if... But this guy being a game sprite so small, it's probably not worth the time. Ah. There we go. So, we'll rotate. Rotate it back this way. In fact, let's try rotate along the Y 90 degrees, rotate along the Y 180, then let's do rotate along the X. Let's go this way, hold the control key, we'll snap to negative 90, rotate down just a little, and now the tricky part. Let's clear these faces. It's not really the tricky part. Hopefully that doesn't freak you out. I was thinking more like in real life surgery. I selected both of those ring loops, edge loops, and I'm just going to say bridge, Control E, then bridge edge loops. And I'll smooth that and smooth that. And I'll select this guy too, and let's Let's smooth that too. So it's a very strange looking hand at the moment, but now we can, now that it's on here, we can see, oh, it's a little bit too big. So I'll click here with the cursor, look at it from the front, click there again, and hit period on the keyboard. Now let's view this in the context of looking at the whole figure. There we go. Down. A little smaller would be nice. Maybe scale on the Y a little bit. A little longer. And then his whole arm here is a little too long. I'm going to do Alt-S to scale on the normals. Now switch back to vertices. GG. Let's see. Add in a little bit more. And then switch to proportional editing from the top, type G. Even a little bit more. There we go. This guy's chest should be flattened out. Let's look at him in perspective. See how he looks in perspective? Not bad. Now, I was going to do a little tweaking, but because the hand and the fingers took a little more time, I'm going to save. In this case, I'll do a save as, increment it. And we'll go on to the next lesson. We'll add the foot, and that should give us enough time to do a little tweaking after that. Control Tab, faces. Let's turn that off. That's kind of funny. Let's just select those. In fact, before I select those, I'm gonna just tweak them, because I know this foot's gonna come off of here. Turn off proportional editing. Here we go. Scale along the Z. Scale along the Z. And better scale along the X too. Scale along the Z. And the X. Now here, we're going to do a couple things here. Let's first take care of his ankles. Got kind of big ankles. I'm just going to scale and add another ring cut. Scale that in. Zoom out to make sure I'm not losing my sense of proportion, which really being thrown off because his legs just a little too thick on the y-axis. Scale this up to something that feels a little better compared to the leg for now, and then if we need to bring the whole leg down, we'll do that. Working on our happy little figure. Sorry, that was probably a bad Bob Ross reference. Now remember, we're looking at it orthographically right now, so sometimes when you go things like this, it looks extra weird. I mean, it's still a little, they're a little too big, but it looks even worse when you see that head there without the perspective that your brain is used to. I think he needs something along here. Let's do Alt-Z, scale it up. Hold the Shift key to restrict the scaling to really small increments. I'm going to do that again. Scale, hold the Shift key. But that trick, doing Alt-B to only see a certain area, that's a good one. Helps quite a bit, especially as your model gets busier and busier. Alt-B. Now we can see more of what's going on here. So we've got the basics of the foot in. Now I'm going to tweak a little bit more. So that way if you, felt like skipping to the next lesson, you could. But there's no guarantees as to what you would miss. I might say something really profound while I'm tweaking. It's kind of relaxing, this stage, when you're just pushing some of these vertices around. feel for what it should be. And you start seeing it take shape. You know, where it's like, oh yeah, that's really cool. I might need another ring cut in here. I mean, it wouldn't be bad for his head to have a little more geometry in there. So, as I put the ring cut in, then I'm going to do Alt-S and just scale on the normals just a little bit. So I'm thinking this guy should come down. Really, his whole could come down a little bit. I'm doing Alt-S, but then I might have to push in a little. Just moving with it, you know, typing G. Alt-S. We don't want the hips to go out too wide here, because then the figure will start looking feminine. And doing a female superhero is for another lesson. Not this one. Too much on the side here. Let's bring that in. Yep, tweaking is fun. I typed C to get the circle select, which you can then just left click and paint your selection. I'm gonna hit escape when you're ready. I'm gonna smooth this and smooth it again. Maybe one more time. Maybe a total of 4 times. That's probably pretty flat now, but that's okay because I'm gonna use that to our advantage. Proportional. Let's move that up. And then turn it off and just move up. Just get a little bit more of an edge here. Maybe too much of an edge there. That's not bad. And that, in fact, that looks pretty good. This could come out more in relation to the rest of the rib cage. And X-ray vision, great. I'm losing a point in here. I don't like that, so I'm going to bring that down. And then for his gluteus maximus, a little bit more of a crease in there. Needs to be rounded out a little bit in here, and I'm thinking flattening it might help. Am I doing that too much? There's another thing that's nice about not having the smooth shading on yet. Even when we're looking at it with the subdivision surface modifier, I think helps seeing these planes, helps understand what's going on. Even down to, you know, here down to no planes. So, for example, his back, I really would like to tweak. I feel like his back muscle should come up like this more. I think that's a job for the proportional editing tool to help grab a whole bunch of vertices at once. Let's shift them up. And these guys shouldn't be this rigid bump at this point. So let's grab these. Let's go crazy. We lost a little bit of our spine in here, but we'll bring it back up here. We've got to turn the proportional editing back off again. Move in. And then we'll crease it. This is a case where if we were sculpting, you probably just swipe it with a quick crease brush. Some people probably would be, some people like sculpting a lot and might even be doing this stuff in sculpting, but I enjoy the finer control of I mean, I suppose you could, the one process of working is to do a very simple model, then sculpt over it, and then re-topologize after that. But for what we're doing here, this is going to work for us. We're not going to re-topologize afterwards. Right, he's looking pretty good. He needs another ring loop across the center, I think. Because believe it or not, that tire around your waist, when it's not a tire, can be a muscle. Here's a case where it'd be nice to bring these up a little bit and smooth them out. All right. Now, last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save. And I'll come back in the next lesson and I'm going to tweak a little bit more around the legs and ankle. All right. Tweaking fun. I'm going to do shift space to give myself some more room. I'm going to type N in T, get even more room. See if I can maximize our space here on the figure. you know, there's a certain level of subjectivity as well as personal taste. So, you know, if you don't, you're welcome to deviate from what I'm doing. The gist is to get a figure that you like. You know, try and get the proportions along the lines of what you feel is good for your character. He needs more of a neck. Not really much better. I think I'm just gonna have to eye this one. Now that, gotta turn that proportion off because that's getting in my way now. Proportional editing. It's really a great thing, you know, 99% of the time. Alright, so he's looking pretty good. I'll move his eyes down a little bit. It's not really his eyes, but just the area that's in that neighborhood. This might be just too dramatic right there. And this seems like this should be closer to his That's not bad. That is bad. There we go, that's better. Let's smooth that too. That's a nice curve. I would like to define his calves. I think I'm being too gentle in my changes, so I'm gonna just make them a little more extreme. And give them one more loop here. That's probably not good. GG. Yeah, there we go. Edge sliding. Now I'll do a little Alt-S to bring it in, bring it up. And I'm gonna GG slide these in. Same thing here. And then let's smooth out. Obviously we don't want this action going on. I don't know, this may be more than we want to do at this stage. This may not be something we want to get too much in geometry. And we can make a normal map in a little bit. Let's see if there's anything else that I want to do at this point. I think I'd like to just round out his head a little bit more. this area. Well, no, maybe not. What I'm trying to get is something that will help me suggest a latissimus dorsi, your lats, which is a little tricky without adding more geometry. And I'm not adverse to adding more in the right places. Right being subjective. So you'd be right in here. I think I'm going to leave that for now, where maybe I'll pull out this. I would like these then to be in. Oh, there we go. And you could tweak and tweak and tweak. At some point you just got to say, okay, good enough for now. And saying good enough for now might be right after you make a few more tweaks. Almost. Just give me a few more minutes on the knees. Too much. I don't like there. right. Save as.